Back to the usual random review grind here on TJOmega's little YouTube page. Matt Burkett has flown home. All the fanfare of the big road trip is done, and we can get back to the business of reviewing normal Transformers once again. And they've been getting a little bit long lately, so I thought let's keep it a little bit simple today, get you in and out with no fuss, no muss, and that means the RID line. This is Megatronus. This is the brand new release, the Toys R Us exclusive with the Battle Mask face, which you will see here in a bit. For now, as you can see, he's about as essential as a tank gets. 2 sets of treads, 1 massive cannon turret, and that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, in a way this makes sense. Keep in mind, it's Megatronus. He's one of the original 13. His transformation wouldn't be all that complicated. He's also pure Decepticon, so he's going to have a very utilitarian vehicle mode that makes sense on Cybertron, you know? And it kind of gives a little bit of personality, I feel. Like, I just want to roll through anything I want to, and if I can't roll through it, I want a gun big enough to blow it up. And those are my only requirements for traveling as a vehicle. And in that pretty much solves everything now, doesn't it? So it's a little bit weird, but I do think there's a little bit of personality and a little bit of a story thematic element to it. So I kind of go with the vehicle mode. It's going to be a sticking point for some, though. Not too much to say in the back, but we'll focus here on the front. It is very monotone. It is very monochrome, actually. You remember the days when Hasbro just could not release anything without at least some tint of color, even if it wasn't show accurate, even if it didn't make sense? You know, hello, backstop, purple rhino. Here, no, not at all. They just made them straight up gray. You have a flat gray, which is a little metallic element, and a gunmetal, which has quite a bit more of a metal flake look to it. That's like 95% of his colors here. That's pretty much it. It makes for a very serious looking war machine, so I gotta give it that. A little bit of color there at the bottom of the barrel with some blue showing through, a little Energon line action, and a little bit of gray around the tip of the barrel, purple rather, I'm sorry. There's so much gray. I've got gray on the brain right now in the gray matter. See the purple on the missile launchers as well, molded both sides. A little bit more because this clearly needed more weaponry. So besides that, you have just a little bit of silver on the side, and yeah, that's it. Like, he is very stark, as most RID toys are for paint, but in this case, I think it gives him a very serious look, a very no-nonsense, death-rolling machine. I kind of go with that. I know, it kind of works. For added features, you do have this giant bayonet sticking out the front, which is weapon storage, and it's also screen accurate, so that's nice. You have drills molded underneath. For the poor sap who has the misfortune of avoiding the blade, the cannon, the treads, and the massive missile launchers, you're going to get drilled instead. You just don't survive when you get in front of this guy, do you? You can also see a lot of molding is done pretty well here on the treads. All the inner wheels and gears and everything are molded in, as well as individual segments of the actual tread. Very nicely done. There's only one downside to it. There is really nothing hiding the robot mode head, though it is tucked away pretty well. I've seen far worse than this and given them a pass, so I'm going to give it a pass this time. Not a whole lot of features. Nothing fires off, no missiles or anything. You do have wheels on the underside, so he gets a bit of a roll. And thanks to some clever way that this toy is engineered and worked out, his turret does have a 90-degree range of movement to the front. It's those missile launchers that keep it from going any farther around. So I dig the tank mode. I know some are going to scoff at it because it is very bare bones, but hey, I think it works for him. Let's get him to robot mode, a mode that might be a little bit more to some's taste. We'll divide up that and go ahead and remove his weapon. Ooh, faux ratchet joints. We're going to hear more of them later. Go ahead and pop up the head and fold up the chest. That way we can rotate him around. See, it's the waist joint that forms the turret. That's kind of clever. We can unpeg them from here. Unpeg from the sides. With that done, all of these fold down to the side. These pieces form the kneecaps. I'll do it again over here so you can see from the side. Bada boom. Fold the legs down. Now for the arms, we will rotate them as such. Fold this down. That will bend this way, and the ends fold out the back. Do it from this side so you can see a little bit more of what's going on from here. And with that, rotate the head around, which that gives us our fully complete, aside from a little bit of adjusting. Wow, those are loud. Megatronus in robot mode. For something that looks like a pretty bare version of a tank, the robot mode doesn't really disappoint. It is hefty and solid looking and like very, very nicely shaped for a Transformer. This is like right in my wheelhouse of where like a Transformer aesthetic for me should be. So I'm thoroughly happy before we even get to the details of this toy. As usual, we start with the head, which this is the Battle Mask version. The normal version with more sensible, more animation accurate head, not out yet. So it's pretty basic, it's pretty simple. Given my choice, I would have gone with the one with a face, but I will admit, I've been kind of eager to get a hold of this toy. Found it for normal retail, $15. Okay, just hand it to me, and we'll see about it later. Maybe I can repaint it in a Shockwave if I end up getting both. But yeah, I'm thoroughly happy with the look of the toy outside of the head being a little bit boring in this version. You can see we do have a little bit more color. There's more splotches of purple, as well as a little bit left over from the vehicle mode, kind of moving around and giving him some more overall colorful look. Still not a whole lot, though. Like, even some new paint apps, like the centerpiece around here and these parts on the chest, still giving a little bit more of the gray look. I'm happy that some more purple did show up, though. Much needed here on the legs. It would have been all gunmetal otherwise. As I said, the proportions are pretty beefy for a Decepticon big bad. This is pretty classic standard style, and it works for me. I like the outward shoulders, the blocky proportions, heavy set legs, wide chest. This all works for me to create a very powerful, menacing vestige. Really dig that. And yeah, there's the poker chip. This is still the thing. Like, I know it gives, I know, like, if you've got the app, it gives you a little bit more you can do with these guys, but man, that just kind of messes with the aesthetic, doesn't it? I hate when they're crooked. This one's a little bit crooked, so his Decepticon symbol's kind of lean, and that part I don't like on any of them. But yeah, works out. And hey, benefit of a simple vehicle, very clean in robot mode. Wish I could do something with his drills, which now form his butt cheeks, but hey, you can't have everything, can you? So I like him for what he is. No gimmicks, so we can go straight to articulation. The head is ball jointed, so fully rotates. Look up and down a little bit here and there. The shoulders are ball jointed down here in the chest, and then you get outward shoulder motion as well on a hinge, so that gives you your universal range. Now, you also have a rotation above the bicep, a faux ratchet there at the elbow. All the faux ratchets on this guy are pretty loud. The detent's pretty solid. Full waist rotation. That's missing a lot these days, so I love when I see it. The hips are ball jointed and range out very, very well. This guy can form the high kicks that he really shouldn't be doing. Rotation there at the thigh. Really good knee. It goes past the 90-degree point. No ankle tilt, but he does have slants, so he stands more naturally. This all gives him a lot of posability. Pretty good range for the RID line. I'm thoroughly happy with that. He looks quite cool when posing around. So far, I'm quite impressed. He manages to be pretty solid, in spite of, your usuals with these kind of toy lines, hollow, hollowed out, hollow. But I will say, he does feel solid. Probably, like, as solid as any RID figure I've played with, if not more so. He might be, like, the sturdiest in the line so far. Then there's the weapon. This, I will admit, is the one kind of sticking point with me because, okay, if you want to view it as some kind of lance or naginata style weapon, okay. For me, it definitely looks like a scalpel. Doesn't it? Long stem, little blade, cut through the incision, and then we remove the Aldsbach. It's a little weird. So you can mount it in his hands, either hand, of course, and you can hold it like that, and it works as some kind of bladed sword weapon. I'm not quite a fan. I kind of prefer to keep it where we kept it in vehicle mode, where it can kind of clip into place like that and form an arm blade, which works a little bit better. Gives me a little bit more of the Megatron, Galvatron style vibe I kind of look for in the big bad Decepticon of the year. So that works out for me especially. So that's pretty much all there is to say about the RID Megatronus. So, yeah, the molding and the paint job are kept simple because, yes, it's the RID line. Some of that is accurate, some is not. But for the most part, he has a really good range of articulation and a really good look to him. And as I said, out of the RID toys I've played with, he's probably the most solid feeling so far. So he really, really feels like top of that toy line to me right now. I'm debating in my mind whether or not he's better than Jazz at the moment. For you, it's probably going to depend on A, if you are watching this at the time the normal retail version is out, which I would actually mark about on a 1 to 10 scale, like half a point higher if it's got the face head. But for this release, yeah, if you can find it and your Toys R Us hasn't jacked the price up ridiculously, I'd say it's very much worth it. It is pretty solid as far as the probably gonna rank up as my favorite RID toy. It's really going to come down to whether or not you dig the tank mode. If you can go with that, then the toy is definitely going to be for you. If not, wait for it to come on discount, I guess, because I still think it's a really worthy pickup.